Hey, Jim. This is Dan from South Florida. I wanted to ask you another question about a side gig that I'm going to be starting as soon as the corona restrictions lift. Obviously, I'm going to be paying myself when the business starts becoming profitable, and obviously have options of paying myself as W-2 or just taking an owner's draw of the profits when those start rolling in. The only reason why I want to know what you would recommend is because in my state, I'm required to pay workers' comp insurance on all payroll, which is 1.3% essentially of everything that's paid on payroll. So if I pay myself on my payroll company, it'll charge me an extra 1.3%. Whereas if I just take an owner's draw, obviously I can avoid that. Is that the right thing to do? I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, and I'd appreciate anything you'd help. Thanks.
Okay, this is an interesting question. I'm not sure exactly what he's getting at here, and I think that's because he's got a little bit of confusion on his part. Most of the time when you have a side gig, you're paid on a 1099, you're an independent contractor, etc., you are basically a sole proprietorship. And a sole proprietorship does not pay wages to the owner. So basically all the profit is an owner's draw. If you form an S-Corp, then you can pay yourself wages. Then you are also an employee of the company. So you get wages, and there are also owner distributions. You only pay payroll taxes on the wages. You don't pay them on the owner's distributions. So that's a strategy for a lot of people, and that's why they form an S-Corp, is in order to save on those payroll taxes. You know, for doctors, it's usually just a savings of Medicaid tax, or Medicare tax, sorry. For somebody who's a lower earner, it might also include Social Security tax that you can save on, and that's obviously a much bigger savings. But as far as this workers' comp tax in your state, if you're not an S-Corp, you shouldn't have to be paying that because you don't actually have employees. And so I think that's a non-issue, I suspect, in your case, unless you've gone ahead and formed an S-Corp. And if you form an S-Corp, well, you got to pay yourself a reasonable wage. And the rest can be an owner's draw or an owner's distribution. And of course, you'll have to pay any required workers' comp taxes on that. But look carefully at the law. I think you may be able to get out of workers' comp if you are the only employee of that company. But I suspect that may be state specific. So take a careful look at that.
If you want your questions answered by the White Coat Investor, record your question at whitecoatinvestor.com/YQA or click the link in the description.